Imagine this. Two identical cars, same engine, same driver skill, yet one crosses the finish line victorious while the other runs out of fuel feet away from glory. The difference? A single, invisible enemy that most fans never think about. Fuel weight. Every liter adds kilograms that slow you down, stresses your tires, burns your tires, so teams face an agonizing choice before every race. Start heavy, pit early, and gamble on traffic. Or run light, extend your stint, and pray the fuel lasts. Today, we're uncovering how this calculation reshapes entire race strategies. This isn't just about arithmetic on a strategy screen. It's about the brutal physics that govern every decision a team makes from Friday practice through Sunday afternoon. A heavier car is slower. That's physics. But a car that runs out of fuel is slower still. It's stationary, so teams must predict, hours before the race, exactly how much fuel to load. And that prediction carries consequences that ripple through pit strategy, tire management, and driver morale. The team that calculates wrong doesn't just lose time. They lose position, lose championship points, sometimes lose the entire race. Meanwhile, the team that reads the weather, the fuel consumption rate, and the traffic pattern correctly, they gain an invisible advantage that competitors never see coming. That's why fuel load strategy isn't a technical footnote. It's the hidden battleground where races are truly won and lost. Let's break down exactly what happens when a car carries more fuel, because the physics here is absolutely unforgiving. Imagine a Formula One car weighing 798 kilograms, the minimum allowed. Now add a full tank of fuel, roughly 110 more kilograms strapped into the chassis. That's 14% more mass trying to change direction at 300 kilometers per hour. When a driver approaches a corner, the tires must generate lateral grip. That's the force pushing sideways against the asphalt to hold the car on its line. Every kilogram matters. A heavier car needs more grip to corner at the same speed, but the tires have a limit. They can only provide so much grip before they slide. So what happens? The driver loses half a tenth of a lap time, maybe a full tenth on a twisty circuit. Across a 30-lap race, that's 20-30 seconds of deficit, all from carrying fuel. But fuel also affects the tires in a subtler way. Heavier cars generate more heat in the rubber through friction and flexing. Hotter tires wear faster. The engineer watches the telemetry and sees tire temperatures climbing, tire degradation climbing. The pit wall knows this heavy fuel load is eating the tires alive. Braking is affected too. A car with 110 extra kilograms needs longer to stop. The brake discs work harder, temperatures spike, and the driver feels the brake pedal becoming less responsive. In a mistake, that extra weight could mean a crash. So why carry fuel at all? Because the alternative is a pit stop, and a pit stop is expensive. 13 seconds, 14 seconds, gone in an instant while the car sits motionless. Here's where the calculation becomes strategic. A driver starting with less fuel, say enough for 15 laps, runs light and quick. Tires stay cooler, lap times stay sharp. But they'll stop sooner, and every pit stop costs position to cars that haven't pitted yet. A driver starting heavy carries enough fuel for 22 laps. They're slower lap by lap, but they get to a pit stop later when other cars have already cycled through. They might emerge ahead or in cleaner air. The sacrifice of early speed buys them strategic position later. Weather changes everything. Rain forecast, lighter fuel load, dry weather locked in. Load up and stretch the fuel window. A surprise rainstorm, and suddenly the car that was carrying maximum fuel is in the wrong strategy entirely. Now they're burning fuel in the wet when everyone else is saving it in green flag conditions. Traffic patterns matter too. Will the driver be stuck behind slower traffic or find clear track? Burning fuel fast in traffic is wasteful. Carrying extra fuel there makes sense. Racing in clean air, lighter is better. The engineer, the strategist, the team principal, they're all studying data from Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning. fuel consumption models, tire edge curves, track temperature, wind direction. They're assembling a three-dimensional puzzle that won't be solved until lap 47 of the race, when everything aligns or everything falls apart. That's the hidden calculation, not arithmetic, prophecy, trying to see the future and stake your race on it. Let's look at 3 moments when this calculation decided not just a race, but a driver's championship hopes. Hungary, 2021. Lewis Hamilton started with a heavier fuel load than Max Verstappen, a deliberate choice by Mercedes to extend his first stint and gain track position later in the race. But Verstappen's lighter strategy worked perfectly. He stopped earlier, emerged ahead in cleaner air, and controlled the race from there. The gap between their fuel loads that Sunday wasn't huge, maybe 2 or 3 liters difference, but it rippled through every lap that followed. Fast forward to Abu Dhabi 2021, the same season, the deciding race. Both drivers came down to the final lap with the championship on the line. The fuel strategy all weekend had been about who could stay out longest, who could undercut, who could react to pit windows and weather threats. Verstappen's team had calculated their fuel loads to give him the flexibility to respond to whatever Hamilton did. That flexibility, built into their strategy from lap 1, gave them options when it mattered most. Now jump back further. Brazil 2016. A wet, chaotic race where fuel consumption became impossible to predict. Cars were struggling for grip, burning fuel inefficiently in the rain, yet drivers couldn't pit early because track position in the wet is everything. The strategists were literally guessing. Teams that had loaded heavy fuel were now hemorrhaging time in fuel-saving mode when they wanted to race. Lewis Hamilton was caught in that trap more than once, stuck with fuel he couldn't use without losing places. Mercedes eventually won the race, but the lesson was brutal. Predict the weather wrong, and your fuel load strategy becomes a straitjacket. Those 3 races tell us something essential. This isn't a simple equation. It's not light equals fast, heavy equals safe. It's about reading the race like a chess player, 3 moves ahead. It's about trusting your data and living with the consequences when the track changes the rules mid-game. Now imagine a scenario that actually happened in 2016 at the German Grand Prix, and it shows us what happens when fuel strategy meets genuine uncertainty. Picture this. The forecast says rain, but it's marginal. Teams have to decide right now, before the formation lap, whether to start with enough fuel to run long spells under wet conditions, or to load light and gamble that the track dries faster than expected. Ferrari chose heavy. They loaded fuel for the storm scenario, planning to pit once and control the race from track position. But the rain cleared faster than anyone predicted. What followed was agonizing to watch. Sebastian Vettel spent the middle stint trapped in fuel conservation mode, lifting off the throttle, managing consumption, while Mercedes, who'd loaded lighter and adapted their pit window, were hunting him down lap by lap. He had the pace to fight, but the fuel in his tank wouldn't let him. It's like having all the power in the world, but being forced to drive with the handbrake halfway on. Ferrari lost positions they should have kept. The race outcome hinged entirely on a weather call that was just slightly wrong, combined with a fuel load that became a prison rather than an advantage. That's the cruel side of this strategy. Sometimes the smartest calculation still loses to the unexpected. So here's what we've learned today. Fuel load strategy isn't just about filling the tank. It's about calculating risk, predicting the unpredictable, and accepting that even the best engineers can get caught out. Remember 3 things. First, every liter costs lap time and tire life. It's a weight penalty that compounds throughout a stint. Second, the pit window isn't just about fuel consumption. It's about when your strategy becomes vulnerable to your rival's choices. And third, weather adds another layer of complexity. One marginal forecast call can transform your advantage into a disadvantage, like we saw with Ferrari loading heavy and then watching the rain disappear. Which fuel strategy topic should we dive deeper into next? Tire degradation under different fuel loads. How teams read pit windows in real time. Let us know in the comments below, and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.